You can walk past this absolutely stunning building. The building, a partnership between Birkbeck and the University of East London, and it is a building where we want the community to feel that they can make use of it and come and be part of it as well.
We were set up by a guy called George Birkbeck, and his whole vision was about how do you make education accessible to adults? How do you make it open so people who've got families, people who've got jobs, people who've got aspirations but maybe not time? We are London's evening university. You know, I look at you and I say, what does a Birkbeck classroom look like? It looks like you. If there's anything that a university stands for, it's about encouraging people to engage in big ideas.
Does the term creative economy imply a certain kind of creativity, one that responds to a need that can be sold, make money and increase property prices? How does this relate to increasing self-censorship and risk-averse practices?
Creativity, I guess, is part of the heart and soul of East London.
East London has the inherent ability to adapt, to change. So I think what East London is very good at is giving rebirth to new industries, to new sectors, time and time again. It doesn't stand still.
East London is Europe's largest cultural quarter, with over 14,000 artists living and working here, and something like just under 100 commercial and non-commercial galleries, and this growing tech centre.
The race begins as soon as we tap our Oyster cards.
I think the most important thing to understand is the amount of creativity that is here that has been unsupported and is still untapped.
Right now in this borough, there are 3,000 young people who are unemployed. East London needs a prosperous local economy to respond to this youth employment crisis. And we need a diverse set of opportunities for our young people so that they get the experience of the world of work quite early on. And this is where I think the creative industries have a role to play in giving young people interesting and exciting work that they really want to do, to stand them in good stead in their transition into the world of work.
When you can slide!
If people are not prepared to reach out and engage in communities in a way that you can really have an impact in those communities, then what you are missing out on is talent.
It isn't a done deal to say that if you don't go to university at 18, you don't go. I didn't go till I was 26 years old. I drive an ambition to know what I wanted to do later on and didn't give up.
So what if you want to be critical of the market values underpinning the notion of the creative economy and supposed need to qualify art and creativity as financially viable, productive and profit-making? What if you want to question who is the work creating a profit for?
What part of East London is real for you? What part would you say is imagined? Not quite real, quite mythic, whatever.
I don't know of anywhere, I think, where the past weighs more heavily than in East London, and the way it is still imagined. And you just think of television programmes like, Whitechapel, The Midwife. You cannot think about East London without thinking about its past.
When I grew up, it was still kind of quite a big sort of white working class population. You can leave your door open. You probably get robbed, but you could leave your door open. But, so and as I grew up, it became multicultural, which brings with it, obviously, a completely different cultural experience. We're not going to get like a Plan B type person coming out and doing a song like James Blunt, like how brilliant their life is, because that's probably not their initial experience. My life is brilliant. Yes. I'm not going to. I live in the East End.
When Joan, who was born in Stockwell, came and took over Theatre Royal Stratford East, she took it over as a communist who cared about the people and primarily the kids of Stratford. And this is in the 50s, this is in the 60s. This is these people who didn't think a theatre building was for them, ever.
Please move down inside the bus.
Did you grow up feeling deprived and hence the chippiness?
No, I don't think it was an unreasonable chippiness. The establishment's had a thing about East London for almost a century. Please move down inside the bus. See, I'm only here to get some dosh. And then, bish, bash, bosh, I'm flying.
People crossing over that bridge to come to the side of the Stratford shopping centre, there is still that split division. It's completely not the same demographic. What it looks like, and this comes back, and I think we do have to talk about it, is race and also class.
Okay.
When you cross over, you've got the West Indies shop selling yam, fruits, whatever. Those communities you don't get in Westfield. But also, just finishing, there's this. I perform all over, and actually trying to get people to come over Central London to East London. There is still this sense of ooh, Stratford.
The opportunities I've had within my creative pathway, which is dance, I feel as if I've, always had opportunities.
We ask you, sincerely, to move along.
Wait.
I think the important thing about perception is who actually creates that perception.
Well, you have a fixed idea, don't you? Like, that is given to you probably, and that you want to accept from the media's portrayal of it. Yeah. Same as how people look at the East End and think, if there's not a knife fight, then I don't really understand. Yeah. Like, where is this place?
What are the kind of things you think will come through in years to come?
Well, I think things like, educational opportunity, work opportunities.
Yes, you've got to have your shiny buildings and your financial firms and your Westfields, but get the artists in. Find everywhere you can and get the artists in, because they just change the perception of your area.
Everyone keeps saying about how they see us. I don't think about that. I think, how do I want to be seen? And then I create that image. And it's up to them. If they don't want to see me in that way, then they can live in their prehistoric ways. I'm knocking on these doors and it's like, I don't know, it's like I feel like I'm a Jehovah's Witness and just they're pretending that they're not in. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's the only way I can explain it.
You should come on tour with me.
Talk to Stratford East.
We're doing this.
Yes, Ashley.
And one for me. Thank you.
This is very good.
Very good.
We've got some good East London front right here.
That's fantastic.
That's what I mean.
Good East London.
Actor, presenter, comedian.
As the woman from Birkbeck, I feel I should make some connections to the things that people were saying. And the first connection is the one about Joan Littlewood, because I think that Joan Littlewood would have loved George Birkbeck. Had they not lived a century apart, they would absolutely have understood each other. Joan opened up theatre to people who thought it wasn't for them. George opened up universities for people who thought it wasn't for them. The second is about footfall, because Freddie talked about being the other side of the bridge, and we're very keen that we're this side of the bridge, and opening up that building will bring footfall past the Picture House, past Stratford East, past Stratford Circus, into our building. So it is part of that, opening up this side of the bridge.
Creative East London, who's it for and who cares?
Where the difference between who the attenders are, or who the audience is, who the participants are, and who the actual makers are, is wonderfully blurred.
Yeah. I think people want stuff that is provocative, surprising, that is going to speak to them, that's going to take them somewhere that they haven't thought of before. They don't want to be patronised.
Personally, I think the things that I've been most interested in seeing are the things that have been a bit rough around the edges.
How do you know what your audience wants?
Yeah, no, I ask myself, what can the building offer, and what can the building offer, and the people who work in the building, and the artists who work in the building, and the artists that come to the building, what can that do for them? I think that my role is to inspire that space, rather than to necessarily anticipate what people will want, what people will need, because you hope to please as many people as possible. You hope that lots of people enjoy it, but then sometimes they don't.
Gravity's taken its toll, so we take ours on Tesco's every little house.
We did a piece with Stratford Circus called Varmints. I don't think we did it quite right, and we're going to develop it better next year. But 92% of the people that came to see the show at Stratford Circus hadn't been before. That was miles higher than any other theatre, because they developed the relationships with people.
All of a sudden, I've got dementia, forgotten to collect my pension and my hunger. Oh, it's just too much to mention.
Crowning Glory, which is the next show, will predominantly play to a black
a black British female audience. I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
I'm very proud it's going to be that kind of audience coming to see that kind of show.
How far does box-ticking exercises come into this? So, for example, people will look at a particular group in all the so-called diversity strands.
Forgive me, the language is too simplistic. There's a whole load of complex layers that makes up, a person who might want to participate in a piece of culture, or who might want to, develop a sort of interest or enthusiasm for a creative industry. And we're not just talking about a theatre, we're talking about fashion, about pop music, about architecture. We're talking about a whole range of creative industries here, which are incredibly dynamic in the way in which
but it's amazing. All what you said is true, Ruth, and what other people have said here. But it's amazing wherever you go in London, but particularly in poorer areas, people complain time and again, and with passion, with fervour, and in the end, people say, this isn't for us, we don't feel part of this, we're going to react.
What I feel about that is that participation isn't just about being invited to come along and take part or feeling like something belongs to you, but it's also about feeling like you've got the right and the tools and the ability to critically engage and comment on what you're seeing and experiencing, whatever it is.